So, good evening and welcome to today's session of ELSAConnect. Looking back, we're nearing our 8th month of ELSAConnect, which is quite crazy when you think about it. Now we're down to bi-weekly sessions of providing a platform for ELSAs to come together, to get to know each other, to continue to braid our community in warmer, more intimate ways. I can barely remember actually the days when we were doing this on a daily basis, and it's so lovely to see everybody here with us. Today we've got Gayathri Raghavan, who's in conversation with Ivy Chin, and I'm going to hand over to Ivy. Ivy, over to you now.
Thank you, Yuna. Thanks. It's always so good to see all these enthusiastic faces, but it's my pleasure to sort of moderate this chat with Gayatri. It was so much of energy bursting through when we were catching up, and for me to get to know her. So, Gayatri, forum is for you. Would love to hear from you describing yourself based on the way you had projected yourself. I'd love for the others to hear the pre and post LSR persona that you had, and sort of the incidents within those wonderful 3 years in LSR.
Thank you, Ivy. Thanks, everybody. So when Neelu contacted me a long time ago, I think this was 3 months ago, and she said, you have to do a session. And I told her that, oh no, I won't do that because all the women who come here and presented, they've done a great job. I don't think I can live up to it. But she won't give up. Neelu being Neelu won't give up. So glad to be here. And like I said, it was quite a task for me to come and talk here with everybody. I was batch of 2000. I am batch of 2000, Lady Sriram, and I had a dual subject, psychology and philosophy. I went on to pursue my master's in psychology, and then I entered into the corporate field. And it's been very much, I've worked a lot in product development, engineering, manufacturing, primarily in the field of applied behavioral science, working a lot with the leadership, teams, employees, primarily towards sustaining, building a sustainable organization culture, I would say. My work has been that throughout, and having said that, I also work a bit in my free time. Currently, I'm on a sabbatical. I also work my bit in my free time with a small organizations, small not-for-profit enterprises, in helping them build their organization and helping them sustain and scale up. Again, more from a organization transformation, applied behavior perspective. So I have a twin sister. So she's an engineer. I took up master's in psychology and entered this field. So it's a contrast with both of us. Yeah, there you see my family photo. Some of the women in my life who've made a huge impact on me. My grandmother, she's 93. She's still alive. She's a person who, my paternal grandmother, that is. So she's a person who has raised 7 children, and she has seen all of them, all the women in my household, both my paternal and my maternal side, all of them are working or have worked, like my mother, who retired as a bank employee. And nobody has sat at home. So that's the values, those are the values me and my sister have imbibed. And so my paternal grandmother, she's 93, and she recently saw her last daughter. So she has 7 children and she has 5 girls. Okay, so I have 5 aunts from my dad's side, and she saw her last daughter, the youngest, who's 60, retire. So that's her life. And she's a huge inspiration to me and my sister. And in terms of understanding how resourceful somebody can be, And she has, right from the time she was a teenager, she has participated in the Freedom March when India was, when the British came in and there was this Quit India movement. She has been participating in those marches, and she's taken several of them, and to a point now where she is seeing her great-grandchildren, and all her grandchildren get married and having great-grandchildren. She is really a story, and something that I've learned from her is, empathy. When we say empathy, right? When people ask us what empathy is about, we always say, it's being in somebody else's shoes. But I think when I look at her today, she is not very agile today. This photo was taken a couple of years back. And currently she's almost bedridden. She only gets up to have bath and have her meals. Otherwise, she just says, leave me alone, I want to sleep. But her mind, she exactly lying in the bedroom, she knows what's happening in the kitchen. Who's cooking what, who's come inside the house, and all that. Her brain is very alert. And coming back to empathy, when I see her like that, I always, when I go there, she stays in Trichinapalli. That's where I was born, and that's her home, is the ancestral home. And when I see her there in her room lying down, and to be with her, to feel her pain, and to just be with her, and when I come back to Bangalore, thinking about her lying down, and that I think has taught me what empathy is about. Just to say, oh my God, what. Poor grandma, she is वो बेचारी कितनी लेटी रहती हैं and ऐसे हो गई हैं. More than that, just to say that and go away is, I don't think we are really feeling, none of us in the family really feel what she's going through. But to just put myself, me as a person becoming her, that I think I have learned empathy, that I have learned from her. And yeah, I try. And this Diwali, I'm really happy I went there, and all of us as a family, we went there and spent time with her. So I'm really glad about that. Yeah. So yeah, that's my grandmother. I can talk about her. And my mother, I lost her to cancer in 2011. She was the reason I joined Lady Shri Ram, because she wanted one of her daughters to join Lady Shri Ram. And we used to stay right behind the college, Lajpat Nagar. And she just walked. I still remember, I hadn't applied. I was telling Ivy this. I hadn't applied to any colleges because I was at my mother's sister's place in Hyderabad, and I was holidaying there. And somehow I didn't get a flight back, and I missed all the college application deadlines. Okay, I would have actually dropped a year. Also because I didn't know what I wanted to do after my school. That was also another thing. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And my mother had purchased the Lady Shri Ram brochure. For that time it was 50 rupees, I remember. So that was it, and in LSR, when my mother so it was I still remember my first day. And then yeah, I suppose so. So yeah. And,
so Gayathri, here's where I want to tell all the other ladies on the group. When I first spoke to Gayathri, she said, I'm really a shy, introverted person. And, I really don't like, I feel embarrassed sharing, etc. and stuff. And then she told me about the stuff that she did in college. So I'm like, that really won't. So that's, I would say, the power of quiet, right? Like Susan would say. So you must tell us how, why, what you did with the Students' Union.
Yeah, my first year of college, I didn't know anybody, and I was so overwhelmed by everybody there. It was, oh my God, a powerhouse of talent, right? And all the girls there, and they were all so nicely dressed. And me from this Tambram family who grew up with the typical Tambrams, how they are at that point. 1997 is what I'm talking about. Maybe now the Tambram culture has changed, but then, Tambram family, very simple family. And, when I walk into this, when I walk into this college, and and I see everybody, I'm like, oh my God, how am I even going to match up to all these girls? They're so talented, so intelligent. They've all got just great marks. And in my first year, I was just looking at all the societies. And then when the student union, the thing came up for the student union, I decided to contest the student union. And, people didn't know who's me. Nobody knew who's this girl who says she wants to contest the students union. And then I went and made a big speech, okay? And you should see the kind of girls that the president, vice president, secretary. And I said, okay, let me contest for treasurer. And I made these huge posters, and a couple of girls maybe helped me in my BA integrated course. They were nice enough to say, okay, let us help you. And then I went into the auditorium and I gave the speech, etc. And that year, all of us were unopposed. Okay, all of us were unopposed. There was nobody to oppose us and stand, because the earlier students union, something happened, and nobody wanted to contest for students union. Nobody wanted to, because something happened. And we were all unopposed, and three of us were from BA integrated: the president, the vice president, and myself. All three of us were from BA integrated, and the secretary was from philosophy honors. So that's how it was. Okay? And ever since I also, then I remember MG told me once, she told somebody, okay, she said, this girl, she always does everything quietly, but she gets it done. So she's very quiet. And and MG said that, okay. And so that was, maybe if I psychoanalyze myself in retrospect, maybe that was my way of I don't know, maybe that was my way of fitting in, or maybe that was my way of testing myself. If I could also, go out there and, address everybody in front of everybody. Maybe it was a very subconscious behavior that was it was latent and it was trying to manifest itself. I don't know. So, so that was that. And I was also president of the Environment Society in my third year. So we used to do all this, we used to go to JNU and give all the garbage there, maybe managing the college garbage, in glorifying terms, it was environment president. And we used to go to JNU and, dump all the garbage. And we used to get all these recycled goods from there. And we used to contest, LSR used to contest in the, Delhi University campus, greenery and all that, right? So we did all that. So that was what it was. And I think my pre-LSR, from this very quiet, very self-proclaimed, not knowing a lot person, my family saw a huge change in me. And particularly my mother's sister, my Masi, who's a huge influence in my life, because she's a person who, with true grit and determination, has achieved whatever she has achieved today. And from being a nobody to being somebody. And I think she's one person me and my sister always looked up to. Another woman, apart from my mother, my paternal grandmother, who's influenced us a lot, is my mother's sister. And so they saw huge change, from this passive person to this assertive person. So yes, so that was a little bit about my, and that has reflected even now, because all of us, when we talk about our alma mater, at the workplace, in the job, I'm seeing in manufacturing. I worked a lot in the factory floor, and not many. As we all know, we do hire a lot of women, right, who go out there and work in the factory floor, because we think women are very adept with their hands, a lot of handwork. So we recruit women in the factory floor in the assembly line to assemble the products. But we may not see a lot of women plant managers. How many women we know in the factory today are actually plant managers in the plant? We know a lot of men who are plant managers. How many women are plant managers? In India, I don't know. But in the US, I've seen a lot of women who are plant managers. So, being when I joined the corporate world, I was lately, in my last 10 years at least, I have seen in many meetings, in leadership meetings, I've been the only woman. And a lot of I have faced instances where I'm talking, and I'm deliberately interrupted, where I've had to actually say, listen, I'm talking, you can talk after I'm done. That kind of I've had to show that kind of behavior. Otherwise, sometimes people tend to, you're a woman, so maybe people tend to go that way. So that's when I've had to remind myself that, hey, the place you graduated from, so don't take crap, so live up to where you graduated from. So I've had to remind myself sometimes, and that I think has made a huge difference. And and for me also to pave my way in my team, when I joined, when I started working, in last 10 years, last almost close to 10 years I spent in Honeywell. So when I joined the company, before that I was in the telecommunications industry, consulting. I've done all that. So when I joined Honeywell, I've seen, I was the only person in my team, only woman in my team. There were 5 men and the only woman. And I've always got this feedback that I'm being very candid here. Okay, guys, I don't know, I'm live on YouTube also, but it's okay. So I've always got this feedback that you have to tone down your you have to tone down your assertiveness. You have to tone down. Okay, every performance review, constant feedback. Okay, maybe they didn't have anything else to tell me, maybe because I don't know what it was. But then even Sheryl Sandberg says that in her book Lean In. She says when a woman is like that, she's called assertive, aggressive. No, she's not called assertive. She's called aggressive. Okay, but when a man is that way, he's blatant, he's leading a team, and he knows when to I would say, when where the buck stops and when to put a stop to certain things, and how to be decisive. Oh, he's called a leader. He's called a leader, right? He's great leadership qualities, and he'll get promotions and everything, yada yada. But then the same doesn't apply to a woman. So I had to slowly and gradually change those perceptions. And but at the same time, I could see a huge cultural shift in when I worked with teams in the US, in China, Czech Republic, even Mexico. When I used to work in those countries, I used to visit in Germany, when I used to go there and sit and work in those offices. Um, I'm not saying that, yeah, we are getting there here workplaces are getting there, but there I did not face those kind of comments, or the perception is a little different. Again, it also depends a lot on the culture, I would say, the leadership, because leader sets the expectation for an organization, right? I could go on this statement, but I always believe the leader sets an expectation for the organization. And the values the leadership imbibes and demonstrates, the people are going to do that. And particularly, be it in a test lab where a product is being made, or in the factory floor where people are working, from the customer to the leadership, and the shop floor or a test lab, it's a huge marriage. And for that marriage to be successful, the right behaviors need to be imbibed and demonstrated in the workplace. It has to be built in the workplace. And I think that if the right behaviors are built, the tools and processes will always work. So I always go by the formula that it's 10% tools, 30% processes, and 60% behaviors. So if the 60% is handled, your 10 and 30 will automatically work. And so that's where I've spent a lot of my time, coaching the leadership, coaching the employees on how to integrate the organization values and the behaviors to the tools and processes that they're trying to build. and they're trying to sell to the customer.
But
So
you spent
yeah.
so much time, the 10, 15 years that you spent. And you're absolutely right. It's really the ecosystem that sort of feeds in and then, builds on itself. It's not just person dependent. Having said that, sort of because you worked on the shop floor, did you notice sort of cultural changes in terms of, women coming in, let's say 10, 15 years ago, as coming in to do a job versus maybe 10 years later, women coming in with a career aspiration even on the shop floor? Was it noticeable? Was there a change in the first place?
Oh yes, noticeable, yes, but unless you deep dive, you dig in, there is always this women may not be as um, maybe in the workplace, at least in my experience, okay, women may not be as expressive and demanding as a man, and we all know that unless you demand, you won't get it. Okay, so women may not be very demanding, but yes, if a woman wants to be a plant manager today, or a woman wants to be an engineering manager, why not? Why not? Why is that should be nurtured? Instead, organizations say that we have diversity targets, right? Organizations have diversity targets, and the diversity target is not about if there is a position that's open, it's not about hiring a woman just to say that, I've met my diversity target. It's about nurturing the woman right from the time the woman is a fresher in the organization. From the fresher in the organization to a project manager, then to a program manager, or fresher in the organization to an assembly line manager, to a value stream manager, plant manager, or an engineering manager. It's about nurturing right from the time the woman has joined the organization, to see there's no retrenchment in the women workforce. And, when a woman takes a sabbatical, or a woman leaves the job, I've heard comments absolutely drives me up the wall. Comments such as, oh, you know what? She can afford it because she has a man who's earning for her. So she can afford to take leave. She can afford to resign and go. Those type of comments, no, that's not the point. Instead, a woman should be, that particular opportunity must be given to the woman to play a dual role and also keep that role in the organization and where the woman is aspiring to. So every woman wants to be, I think, an engineering manager or plant manager. So let us take that woman seriously, rather than saying that, it's okay. I've also heard comments where it's okay, where there's a pay disparity. We all know about the pay disparity. We talk about it. It's okay to pay a woman 5% less, or even a 0.5% less, because it's a dual income household. It's not about that, so so a lot of women are very, very aspiring in their career, and I would say don't fill positions because we have to meet our diversity targets, but nurture them from day one. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So I can say that when my sister, she's a mechanical engineer, right? So I just want to share one thing about her. When I joined LSR, she came to Karnataka all the way from Delhi. My mother bought her, here to make her join engineering college. And there, she was in mechanical. You don't see women that time, right? And she was the only woman in a class of 32 men. Okay. And then she came back to Delhi to do her master's. All right. In her mechanical engineering field. She was the only woman in a class of, again, I think 20 boys, 20 men. She was the only woman. And imagine spending 4 years looking at the face of men without any woman, and 2 more years looking at the face of men without any woman. And when Maruti campus placements are sought after for any mechanical engineer, right? And to be a graduate engineer in Maruti and to grow in the ladder is any man's dream, definitely, if you're a mechanical engineer. So Maruti came for campus placement, and she was the only, this is my sister, my twin sister. Yes. So she was the only, 2 people got placed. Okay, I think of the 24 people, Maruti recruited campus placement 2 people. There was one guy who got in, and the second was her, she. Okay, you should have seen the looks on all the face of all the men in that room. Okay, and how can a woman get placed in Maruti when here all the men are standing waiting to be interviewed and waiting to be placed? How can they choose her? So that's how that's the kind of stigma, the perceptions that she had to face. And so I think both of us get this. We owe a lot what we are today, the grit and the determination, to our mother, and also my mother's sister who we look up to. We owe it a lot to my mother, definitely. If she hadn't she's what she is. Yeah. And she used to work in the Syndicate Bank Mulchand branch, and she used to walk from home, and she used to walk back, walk from home to office, and she used to walk back. And and the kind of things that she has really envisioned, I think yeah, we owe it to her, definitely. So yes, so that's what it is. And that has taught me how to translate the experiences in the workplace, and to get out of my own shell. I was in college, my first year I was in a shell, right? So how do I get out of the shell? And yes, so that transformation, being those 3 years in LSR, and that has helped me today in the workplace to translate those ideas, those I used to go back home and tell my parents, oh my God, look at all those girls in college. How am I even going to fit in and all that, so it was those days. Yeah.
Gayathri, with all of these experiences, I think your mom, LSR, your work, etc., how is it for you now as a mom to a beautiful little girl, Mrinmay? What a pretty name. Tell us a little bit in terms of, she's 3, right? So
yeah, right. She's 3, and Mrinmay, and she, well, yeah, she's 3. Yeah, my God. And she is like, I think most of us here who have kids, and who some of us here who are like, who have seen our children grow up. I'm still in that age, right? So some of us are still in that stage where our kids are infants, and some of us here are in the stage where kids are grown up. So people whose kids are grown up know what it is, right? So my daughter, children can teach us a lot. I wish I had been like her. She is this person who has a lot of focus, and she doesn't give up. And she has taught me not giving up. No, really, when I say she doesn't give up, she doesn't give up. She wanted to blow the balloon. 10 days she was at it, blowing the balloon until she got it the way adults do it. Adults blow balloons. So this is one instant of she not giving up. So that's how she is, doesn't give up. So she is, that bundle of energy. And I'm glad I took this break. I took this sabbatical because she came a little late in our life. And after a lot of, she came in, and I still remember a friend of mine in Saskin, when I was working in Saskin Technologies. A friend of mine, a colleague of mine, told me, she said, God will only, give you that much that you can take. When you think you don't have something, don't think you don't have something, because when you think you're in pain, God will only give you that much you can bear. But after that is over, the next step will always be even better. So that's what it is. And every step of my life, it's been even better. And like my, I must also say, like one of my colleague told me that, when I was still not married, and she said, always marry a person who will help you grow professionally and personally. She said, Gayatri, that's what I did. And so I took her advice to heart, and I did exactly that. and I was very particular. So I said, this is the best advice I've got. I should maybe follow that. And that's exactly what I did. So, I'm glad. So I took that break. So it's now 2 years. It's going to be 2.5 years. No, it's 2 years really. Yeah, it's 2.3 years, and I've been spending total time with her and reading up a lot, and so that's what I've been doing. And recently I have gone back to not to work, but I've taken up freelance projects, and I'm working very closely with Arvind High Hospital, Madurai. So their manufacturing facility. So I'm helping them in the organization transformation. So yes, definitely I want to get back into the corporate, but I really want to put my energies into helping not-for-profit organizations where they require any org transformation help, and where they want to set up their tools and processes. So that's what I want my focus to be on. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. So that's what it is. And I also remember in college we had the freshers day, right? We have this freshers party, I think, the freshers day, where the Miss LSR gets announced, and when when we joined that year, the BA integrated seniors, they gave us a theme of 1942. Okay, and they said 1942. So your attire, your speech that you have to give on stage, all of you, it has to be 1942. That's the theme. So it's my mother again. Okay, she gave me her sari and her, the puff blouse, that she gave it to me, and she said, you know what, be Sarojini Naidu, and you dress up and say you're Sarojini Naidu. Okay, so I went there and I made a big speech in the auditorium and about how India is a great nation, and I don't even remember, but I said a lot of things. And and I was Sarojini Naidu. I said, I'm Sarojini Naidu, and I've done this and I've done that. And so I was runner-up, and I was the best dressed. They gave me the best dressed person. So so I think so that's what it is. Ivy really pulled me out to talk here. She said, see, whatever you want to. And she's been very, very, very supportive. And yeah.
So Gayatri, like I said, she started off saying, I'm very shy, I won't be able to talk much, etc. I said, number one, you're going to be with a group of chattering ladies, so I don't think you should feel uncomfortable or informal, number one. And I think I'm sure the rest of the group here will defer and say that no, we don't think Gayatri is shy or lacked anything in speaking. So it's been wonderful when our couple of last sessions as well. I don't know if there are any questions from the group for Gayatri. I was myself very, very intrigued by her line of work. I think one, behavioral science, and the other in sort of specifically manufacturing, hardcore sort of shop floor work. So very, very exciting and interesting to hear. And especially now, I think her sort of new avatar where she's doing more consulting work in, let's say, the eye care space, etc. So very interesting. Was great fun listening to her speak, and so much of enthusiasm. I think that generally is the hallmark for all ELSAs, right? Every time we speak, there's so much of energy bursting through. So, and
that.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, oh yeah, and when Sandhya sent out the poster, what was that? Behavioral scientist. I'm like, no, I would love to be one someday, very soon, but no, I'm still getting there. No, not at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Tanya, about the wine. Oh, I love. Oh my, that's like I wish I was the owner of a vineyard, and I wish I could do a tequila business out here, in India. And sometimes I feel my daughter's going to be like me because she loves anything grape. She loves grapes. She loves raisins. She loves grape juice. Maybe so that's the connection, you know. Maybe it's in the genes. So so yeah. So wine and tequila are very close to my heart. Yeah.
Is there a special reason that is so, or just something that has developed, like a taste or something? I mean, your love for wine, how did it come
Yes,
about?
like that. I just like that's the only thing I drink because that's all.
That and tequila shots, I believe.
How they do it.
Okay, cool.
That's all. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I don't know, Tanya, Yumna, if there's anything else in terms of questions from the group for Gayathri to get some more insights from her.
Classical dance you're missing.
No,
Yes, I wanted to know about dance.
I'm trained in Kathak. I trained under Vashpati Mishra in Delhi. But now I don't, something that they say we all say no regrets, but that's my biggest regret, that somehow I don't do it anymore, and I should have just taken that up as my career. But it's okay, I guess. I'll make my daughter do that because she loves dancing. I'm not initiating my dreams on her. It's just that she loves dancing, so I'll make her do that.
I think Madhulika had a question on what you're doing with Arvind I.
On what, Madhulika? On what?
Your current consulting work that you're doing.
Oh yeah, I've just started. It's still in. I've just started. I've still not visiting. I've still not visited their plant. The Arvind High Hospital in Madurai, they have a manufacturing facility, Oro Labs, where they manufacture the lenses and other equipment, surgical equipments. And I'm going to do some work for them, organization transformation work, because they are not for profit, right? So they are a trust. They are a trust, and they do very good work. I mean, if we see the person who really started Arvind High Hospital, Dr. V, and the kind of vision that he had to provide low cost services to all the people who can't afford that. So so when I see his vision, and then they got in touch with me through a former colleague of mine, and they wanted me to do some organization work to help them scale up, etc. So I've just started with them. It's not even 25% yet. Maybe I'll be able to talk more about it when I finish. It's more of organization design, work in helping them in the organization design, organization transformation, setting the right behaviors in the workplace. Yeah, primarily about that, Madhulika.
Shafiqi, you had a question? You're on mute.
Yeah. Gayathri, hi. I was just wondering, you were talking so much about the time you spent your first year. Did you make friends in your first year?
Oh, a lot of friends.
And are you still in touch with them?
And I remember one instance where it was so funny. It's so funny. I remember one instance. I was in the English class. Dr. Shanaz Kama. Oh, I remember all the teachers. Okay, Dr. Shanaz Kama, and there were some girls making noise, and she was trying to teach. And she said, "Can someone please go outside this room and ask those girls to please stop it?" Everybody was wondering who's going to go. She said, "Gayathri, you'll go. I know you can do it. Go out there and tell them to just stop it and not create nuisance." And so I don't know why she thought I could do it. थोड़ा दो डंडा लगाओ सबको बाहर जाके बहुत आवाज कर रहे हैं. So I went and I did it. So I made a lot of friends. Like of course I did. Yeah.
So just a quick time check. We're almost at 4:50. So I think I'd hand this over.
So just to, I don't know whether you read about the tequila. You can make tequila and it's being made in Goa. So Gayatri, there you go. We will follow you.
Okay, great business opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming. This has been really nice. Actually, I've been just enjoying all the women in your life. And Ivy, this is so beautifully, both of you chatted. Just tell us more about this aspect of your in college. Like, for example, I've just got stuck, but basically when I was in the union as a treasurer, so it reminded me, most of you here, you took me through a journey, Gayatri, because first year I was also very, very quiet and nobody knew me. It was just the hostel people who said just stand for elections, and I stood for election for fun and the speech. So your journey is very interesting, but I'm also enjoying this tequila bit of you. Like if your mother was here, and I mean, I'm just saying from the Brahm side, which you say you came, and now the tequila lady, I couldn't, I just kind of just trying to fit you and try to see the visual, like a movie it was going on for me. So it's really nice. I'm so glad you came in, and I don't have a question for you, but I just enjoyed this whole conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, Neelu.
No, so much, and I'm wondering why you had why you had to say no, and it was so tough. And Ivy, I think it's most beautiful that Sandhya chose you, and she said, "Oh, let's just get Ivy to bring out the best of these corporate women."
She has been very patient with me, so I'll have a private chat with her. But thanks for pulling me into this. I know Madhulika is saying that, okay, she's redeemed herself a little bit as well. But thank you for the opportunity. But thank you, Gayatri. And
it's really nice because we have a Suki here, and we have a lot of new faces. Mayuki, a lot of coming out for a long time, so it's lovely.
Yeah. So
Gayatri, I hope we'll see some more of you. Gayatri, I hope we'll see some more of you now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah. Definitely, yeah. I will come. More of me, definitely. My daughter, yeah, she's currently very annoyed with me because she asked me for Apple and I told her I'm on the call, and she's very annoyed right now. So so hopefully she should let me come and participate. That's what happens during the 4 to 5. She's like at her peak then.
Bring her too.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that I will. I bought her, in fact, into a lot of. I bought her. I will. Some of the sessions where I've attended, she is with me. I will.
Thank you, Gayatri. Yeah. So I just wanted to hand over to Sanjari to announce the next session.
Hi, Gayatri. Welcome officially from the Madhouse here. It's our space where we really share with each other. It's so lovely to meet you. Hope to see much more of you. And thanks, Ivy, for turning up. I haven't seen you in a long, long time. It was so nice to see you and hear both of you. So as Gayatri, you were saying your daughter is also hangs around. Trust me, most of the kids are hanging around. And our next guest is a senior from Mathematical Statistics 1983 batch. She's a dancer, and she's also a very, what do I say? Her daughter again is another Elsa, who's a dancer also, and they somehow manage to do everything together. It's just surprising how she multitasks at all level. All dancers are not good teachers. I'm not critiquing anyone. It's teaching is a very different skill. So Geeta is someone from my school, and I've seen her from when I was a baby. She was a dancer. Now she's a very she kind of teaches lots of students from all age groups, and she's so multifaceted and so involved with the kids that generation next. And we always worry about, the kids are not learning, they don't have any idea about the classical forms. This girl is actually breaking barriers, and they're more like a family. She plays around with all new concepts, because we have to connect with the audience. She would be talking about a few of her productions, as well as touch the surface of fine arts, which is, I think, very crucial in the last 1 year, the COVID days. We realized how it has, it is the balm, fine arts, whether it's music, it's dance, any form of art. which I don't think people really realize the value of it. So let's come together and see what she has to share. She has been awarded the Padma Shri also by the government of India, if that's anything. But she's a beautiful speaker. She connects with her audience, and she just breaks through the barrier of the thing about classical forms not popular with the kids. I don't think I should share more. Let's wait for Saturday. Join us on Saturday 21st to meet Geeta Chandran as she shares her ideas and she speaks to us about dance and much more. Over to you, Ivy.
Sure. Okay, so I think that's the session for today. But thank you all very much for joining in. And thank you really for giving me the opportunity as well. So I've connected to one more Elsa.